DK had passed every performance review. She earned annual bonuses. In March 2025, she applied for a seasonal manager promotion at Intuit. The automated video interview system failed to parse her speech. She is deaf and returned this feedback. Practice active listening. The American Civil Liberties Union filed a complaint within weeks. This white paper makes a structural argument. The enterprise talent system built on commodity language model wrappers has reached the end of its legal viability. Colorado's Artificial Intelligence Act, Senate Bill 24205, took effect in early 2026. A federal court in Mobley v. Workday certified a class action naming an AI vendor as an indirect employer. Deep AI is no longer a premium option. It is the compliance flaw. The failure at Intuit was not a glitch. It was structural. Standard automated speech recognition systems achieve a word error rate of 10 to 18% on standard American English. For deaf and hard of hearing speakers, that figure reaches 77 to 78%. At that error rate, the transcript is not a degraded signal. It is noise. Any downstream model analyzing that noise for leadership traits or cultural fit is hallucinating results. Beyond the signal failure, general-purpose LLM wrappers inherit historical bias from uncurated internet-scale training data. They cannot prove counterfactual fairness. The mathematical guarantee that a candidate's score would have been identical had their protected attributes been different. The wrapper has no answer for the compliance question it now faces. The architecture the paper describes has three interlocking layers. The first is adversarial debiasing. The primary scoring model is trained simultaneously with an adversary model whose only function is to detect a candidate's protected attributes, race, disability, national origin, from the primary model's internal data representations. The primary model is penalized via a hyperparameter lambda until the adversary can no longer distinguish between demographic groups. This is not a post hoc filter. It is a mathematical constraint on the model's learning objective, enforcing representational blindness to sensitive variables before a score is ever generated. The second layer is early multimodal fusion. Features from three channels, video facial expression, audio speech prosody, and text transcript, are integrated at a foundational level rather than processed in isolation. When the audio channel is impoverished, a low-confidence transcript caused by a deaf accent or a non-native accent, the system activates modality fusion collaborative debiasing, artificially increasing the weight of the enriched channels, written credentials, visual nonverbal engagement, and structured response quality. The modality failure does not propagate downstream. It is caught at the integration layer and compensated. The third layer is human-in-the-loop as an event-driven operational standard. When the ASR confidence score drops below threshold, the workflow automatically routes to a human CRT provider, communication access real-time translation, or triggers a bimodal assessment allowing written responses alongside video. The human intervention is not an exception. It is an event on the decision graph. The paper's evidence rests on three pillars. First, the ASR research. Deaf and hard of hearing speakers at average intelligibility score 77 to 78% word error rate. The statistical consequence is not merely poor quality. It constitutes a mathematically insurmountable barrier under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act and the Americans with Disabilities Act. A system that produces a disparate selection rate below 80% for a protected group triggers disparate impact liability. At 78% transcript noise, no employer can argue the barrier was unintentional. Second, in Mobley v. Workday, a federal district court took the precedent-setting step of certifying a collective action naming the AI vendor as an agent and indirect employer, not an indemnified tool vendor. The liability traveled up the supply chain. Third, SHAP analysis of deployed hiring models reveals that candidates are systematically penalized for prosody and facial micro-expressions, features with no scientific link to job performance but high correlation with race and disability. Colorado Senate Bill 24205 is now in effect. It requires annual impact assessments for any AI system making consequential hiring or promotion decisions. New York City Local Law 144 mandates independent bias audits and public transparency. The EU AI Act imposes global revenue-based fines. An enterprise running a black box wrapper today faces daily fines under New York City law, class action exposure under Mobley, and an annual audit requirement it cannot satisfy. The deeper exposure is this: every automated interview conducted since deployment adds to the potential class. The organization that invested in verified fairness early does not face a remediation. It faces a competitive advantage. The organization that waited faces a growing inventory of liability. Veriprajna. Read the 9-page brief. Approximately 12 minutes. The paper walks through the full architecture: adversarial debiasing, multimodal fusion, HITL governance, and the legal case for why wrapper era platforms cannot survive the 2026 compliance reckoning.